Welcome to Commander on Curve, where we build smarter, not pricier. I'm Pat, and today we're diving into a somewhat budget-friendly deck that doesn't play quite fair. It plays to win in a weird, wild way. Let's get into it. Who's our lovely commander today? None other than Miirym, Sentinel Wyrm. She is a 6/6 with flying, ward 2. She is a 6-drop, 3 in Teamer, which is green, blue, red. And the reason she's a sleeper agent when it comes to brackets, this is a bracket 4, but it's technically a bracket 3. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. Holy mackerel. So we want to build a deck that has lots of dragons and ways to copy things and ways to copy things and more copies. So you kind of get where I'm going. Let's dive into it. Gonna start off with the enchantments because the good stuff needs to be saved for later. So we do run a Niv Mizzet, and that can go somewhat infinite with Curiosity. You put this on Niv Mizzet or one of his copies, and whenever he deals damage to an opponent, he may draw a card. But what he says is when you draw a card, he does 1 damage to target opponent. So, bang, 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 bang. Pretty much you will deck yourself if everybody's at high life totals. So you kind of want to wait until the end of the game. We have a Sylvan Library. Yes, it's not the most budget-friendly, but I got a secret layer, and this came with it. Beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 life, or put the card on top of your library. So, early game, this is a good draw. Late game, still can be good, but moving on. Power Balance. This is one of my favorite cards because it has worked out for me 2 times. It's a 2 red enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the 2 spells have the same mana value. We run Sorok Dragonclaw in this deck, and he's a 5-drop. One day playing this game, I had my Power Balance out. Someone played a 5-drop. I got a free Sorok Dragonclaw on my battlefield for free. It's worth it. This card is so good, and it just adds a little bit of flair and randomness. We got lots of dragons. So, Shared Animosity. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets a +1/+0 buff until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. Wow. And it's 2 in a red. Not too bad. Very good. Garruk's Uprising. When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Pretty good. Creatures you control have trample. Pretty good. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters a battlefield under your control, draw a card. Our dragons are big, beefy boys. We're going to draw lots of cards with this, and we get to draw a card when we play it. And it's only a 3-drop. Magnificent. So this deck does have some heavy hitters, though. A 4-drop. Sarkhan's Unsealing. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 4, 5, or 6, this does 4 damage to any target. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 7 or greater, this does 4 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. This is going to do the Lord's work, I'm telling you. Boom, we have it, a doubling season. Miirym makes token, non-legendary copies of legendary dragons and regular copies of regular dragons. Why not have 2 copies of a dragon? Play 1 dragon, why not get 3? Because doubling season, that's why. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many instead. If an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many of those counters on that permanent instead. Yeah, we are going to multiply our dragons. It's amazing. Wait till you see the other cards I have. Reflections of the Jar. It's an enchantment. It's 4 and a blue. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Dragons. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. So, cool. Now I get more dragons. Why not? Let's do some artifacts. Every dragon deck should have this. I was lucky enough to have pulled, boom, a Mox Jasper. It's a 0-drop. Tap it at 1 mana of any color if you control a dragon. Easy, easy. We got some ramp. Talisman of Curiosity. Taps for colorless or green or blue, but it does 1 damage to us. Not terrible. Swiftfoot Boots. Everybody should know this card, but it's a 2-drop that gives your enchanted creature hexproof and haste. An Arcane Signet. Some more ramp. 1 color of our commander's identity. Herd Heirloom. Pretty neat little card. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Spend it for creature spells. Done. Or we can tap it, and until end of turn, target creature you control with power 4 or greater gains trample, and whenever it does damage, combat damage, to a player, draw a card. We like to draw cards. And give trample. Boom. Commander Sphere. More ramp. And we can sack it for a free card. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. I feel like this card just doesn't get much love. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. That's pretty good. Or, whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay 1 green. If you do, draw a card. We like drawing cards. We have lots of green mana. So, let's do it. Dragon's Horde. Another dragon card. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, put a gold counter on Dragon's Horde. Tap it to remove a gold counter, draw a card. Or tap 1 mana of any color. Icon of Ancestry. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Dragons. Dragons you control of the chosen type, blah blah blah. Get a +1/+1 buff. And you can pay 3, tap it, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom in a random order. So, say our hand's running low on cards, we get this out. We can just start playing dragons off the top. Once we put them back in our hand and pay for them, of course. I wouldn't forget that. A mirror box. This thing's pretty cool. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1, and each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. So, our legendary creatures get a +1/+1, and our tokens get a +1/+1 for each other token of the same name. In this sense, oh, that says non-token. Look at that. I'll call it a mulligan. So each non-token creature you control gets a +1 for each other creature you control with the same name. Sorry, I misread that. So basically, all of our copies of dragons means they'll get +1/+1/+1/+1. In our legends, we can have multiples. Imagine having 2 or 3 Miiryms. I wonder how we can pull that off. Oh, look at that. We have a Helm of the Host. This card we want to get on Miirym, but it's still good on any other card because we only put good cards with value in the deck. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary if equipped creature is legendary. That token gains haste. 4-drop, equip 5. It's worth it. Absolutely worth it. And an old goodie, Vanquisher's Banner. Choose a creature type, dragons. Your dragons get a +1/+1 buff. And whenever you cast a dragon spell, draw a card. So every time you play a dragon, you get your copies squared away, and then you get to draw a card. And then you can just keep replacing your hand. Lots of card draw in this deck. Let's talk about some instants. We gotta protect our stuff. Miirym has Ward 2, so she's harder to get rid of, but we still gotta interact a little bit and just make people pay when they mess with our dragons. We have a Lightning Bolt. 1 red for deals 3 damage to any target. Instant speed. Got the cool artwork. Snakeskin Veil. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It gains hexproof until end of turn. Fantastic. 1 green. A Brainstorm. 1 blue, draw 3, put 2 back. Could be helpful. Flusterstorm. Woo-woo. It has Storm. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1. 1 blue. We can try to make people waste mana. Hopefully we have some other of our 1-drops going. But, man, someone tries to counter something, or someone is playing a infinite loop to win, like Thassa's Oracle with Demonic Consultation. This might stop them if they can't pay the 1. Or if you're storming, hopefully they can't pay 2 or 3. But we do have the counterspell in case other things happen. SpongeBob, counter target spell. Tail's End, counter target activated ability, triggered ability, or legendary spell. It's a 2-drop, it's commander, legendary spell, people's commanders. Or if someone has an activated ability, like a Planeswalker ability, this can counter that. It's a good card. Winged Portent. The cleave is 4, a green and a blue, and that means you would take away the with flying bracket, but otherwise it's a 3-drop. Draw a card for each creature you control if you cleave it. Or 3-drop. Each creature with flying you control. Our deck is dragons, and they fly, so draw a card for each dragon. Sounds good. We also have here Invert Polarity. It's a counterspell, 2 blue and a red. Choose target spell, then flip a coin. If you win the flip, gain control of that spell, and you may choose new targets for it. If you lose the flip, counter that spell. You don't lose out for playing this. This is fantastic. It's a win-win. It's only 3. Easy. We have some sorceries, of course. We have a Grape Shot. Storm. Grape Shot does 1 damage to any target. Could be useful. Might not be. Or hopefully it will be. Stump Stomp. This one's also good because it's also a land if you need it. But Stump Stomp says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. For 2, thank you very much. What a great card. It hurt some threats on the board. Some mana ramp, cultivate. Search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal them, put them on the battlefield, put 1 on the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, and then shuffle. Pretty basic. And then our big daddy sorcery, Genesis Ultimatum. It's 2 green, 3 blue, 2 red. Excuse me. Move the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest into your hand. Exile Genesis Ultimatum. Fantastic. What a great card. Kind of a late game card, though. Keep that in mind. One more thing before we get to the Big Daddy Dragons. That are utility creatures that support Miirym, making copies upon copies upon copies of all of our Big Daddy Dragons. A little bit of protection from people. Ooh. Dragon Sniper. 1/1. Vigilance, Reach, Death Touch. Early game defense, late game defense, vigilance. It's good. Dragon Master Outcast. It's a 1 red. It's a 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, put a 5/5 red dragon creature token on the with flying onto the battlefield. Yeah, we usually don't have any problems drawing into all of our lands. So, a free dragon? Oh, it's a token? We have doubling season. We can make more of it. That's awesome. Goro, Disciple of Ryusi. Pay 1 red. Creatures you control gain haste. That's pretty awesome in this deck. Or we can pay 3 and 2 red. Sorry, my leg itches. Oh, goodness. Sorry. Create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. Activate only if you control an attacking modified creature. Equipment auras and counters are modifications. So, early hasty stuff? Yes, please. And dragons can be expensive. Let's focus on discounts. Dragon Lord Servant, a 1/3. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less. Pretty self-explanatory. Dragon Speaker Shaman, a 3-drop. Dragon spells you play cost 2 less, and it's a 2/2. If we get these, great. If we don't, the deck still runs like a champ. Mirror Image, a 3-drop. You may have Mirror Image enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature you control. We're going to have some non-legendary tokens. This could be a copy of, an Earthquake Dragon or, Old Gnawbone. As long as we have the mirror box out, or it's a non-legendary token for 3 mana. Tell me that's not great. And it's a shapeshifter, so it counts as a dragon, which triggers that, so we get another one. It's crazy. Naga Fleshcrafter. You may have this creature enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. So if someone's got something better than us, we can get our hands on a copy of that. But usually we'll just copy our dragons. Renew, 2 and a blue. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put a 1/1 counter on target non-legendary creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. If we have mirror box out, we win the game. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a fantastic ability. And it's a snake shapeshifter. So it's a dragon. So we make a copy of it. And it's great. It's amazing. Speaking of Surrak Dragonclaw, boom. Ooh, a little bit lower. It's a 5-drop, 2 and Teamer. Flash. This spell can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Other creatures you control have trample. And it's a 6/6. There's nothing wrong with this guy. You could even run him as your commander, and he would be great. But I like Miirym because I like making tons of dragons. But yeah, fantastic. Also, this is the card I hit when I had my power balance a few games ago, so that was special. Another card. This one's in here because it's one of my pet cards. Riku of 2 Reflections. I have never had this card show up in any game, in any deck that I've ever had it in. One of these days it will happen and it will be amazing. Riku of 2 Reflections. It's a 5-drop, 2 and Teamer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay blue and red. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. That's really cool. Ooh, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay Simic. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Another copying outlet? Oh my goodness. Tell me more. Let's go and see some dragons. This card is good for early and late game. A Shivan Devastator. Sadly, it doesn't work with Miirym. I don't think. I'll have to look it up. X red. You can play the 2, 1 and a red, and have a 1/1 flying haste on turn 2. Or, turn 6, if you have 7 or 8 lands out, you can drop this for a 7/7. Regardless, pretty good. And it's a dragon. Hydra. We have here a Thunderbreak Regent. Flying. Whenever a dragon you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, this does 3 damage to that player. So it punishes people for targeting our dragons. Atsushi the Blazing Sky. 4/4 flying trample. When it dies, choose 1. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Or create 3 treasure tokens. Oh, that's awesome. Rapacious Dragon. It is a 3/3 flying for 5. Kind of pricey in the whole mana sense, but when it enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. And say we copy this once or twice. That's 4 to 6 treasure tokens. And if we have doubling season out, that's, 8, 10, 12. Treasure tokens. No big deal. So, pretty good. Wrathful Red Dragon. You know him. We all do. It's a 5-drop, 5/5 with flying. Whenever a dragon you control is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target that isn't a dragon. Well, you know where that's headed. Other players aren't dragons, so Boom, 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 boom. We're coming at him with giant flying boys and multiple of them. Let's just add insult to injury. We have the Demanding Dragon. 5/5 for 5. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target opponent unless they sacrifice a creature. Say we make 3 copies of this upon entering. That's 20 damage unless they sacrifice 4 creatures. Tell me that's not good. The playmat. Check it out. We have the Glorybringer. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh, fantastic. 4/4, Flying Haste for 5. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. Say we have a few of these. That's 12 to 16 damage in one attack. That's not even with the combat damage. Rayusi, the Falling Star. 5/5 for 6. Flying. Whenever it is put into a graveyard from play, it deals 5 damage to each creature without flying. All of our dragons fly, so they're safe. Ooh. Amazing. Our last Big Daddy red card. The Advara Hellkite. It's a 6/6 for 8, but whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. This has flying itself. Say you got 5 dragons attacking. Whenever a dragon, so you get 5 more 6/6 dragons with flying. And if you're doubling season, you get 12 6/6 dragons with flying. It's bonkers. And if you make a copy of this with Miirym, or Helm of the Host, or the other copy spells, because it's not legendary, you get even more 6/6 dragons. What the this is not an early game card, but damn. Try to ramp into this. It's great. Moving on to green. We have Kura, the Boundless Sky, 4/4, Flying Death Touch. Whenever it dies, choose one. Search your library for 3 lands, reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle. Or create an XX green spirit creature token where X is the number of lands you control. There's no downside to this, and if we have 3 of them, and all 3 die, we are getting some gold value from this card. A Bloomvine Regent. It has an adventure, 2 and a green for Omen. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, reveal them, put them 1 in the battlefield, tapped, and 1 into your hand. Kind of like a Cultivate on a body. Then it's on an adventure, we pay 5, we bring it in. 4/5 flying. Whenever this creature or another dragon you control enters, you gain 3 life. Cool. Let's make 5 more copies of this and just gain an insane amount of life. Jugan, the Rising Star. 5/5 flying for 6. When Jugan, the Rising Star, is put into a graveyard from play, you may distribute 5 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures. That's awesome. We're buffing our stuff. And if we have doubling season out, we're getting twice as many counters. Big Daddy, Old Gnawbone, a 7/7 for 7 that flies. Whenever a creature you control, all of your creatures that you control, deal combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Oh my gosh. If you have some dragons out with trample and you're touching someone, and then you have doubling season, you have so much mana for your next step. Imagine making a copy of this with Miirym and making another copy of this, or another copy. You would have so many treasures. Just play the whole deck. It doesn't matter. Just do it. An Earthquake Dragon. It's a 10/10 for 15. However, it costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of dragons you control. Flying and trample. You can pay 2 and a green, sack a land, return it from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty good. So, look at that. All of our dragons cost a shitload. So, well, this will probably only cost us 1 green for a 10/10. Makes sense. On to blue. Kaiga the Tide Star. 5/5 for 6 flying. When it dies, gain control of target creature. Yeah, that's pretty good. People are not going to want to attack us. Unless they want to give us something good of theirs if they kill our dragon. Kyrie the Swirling Sky. Flying Ward 3. 6/6 for 6. When it dies, choose one. Return any number of target non-land permanents with converted mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands, or mill 6 cards. Return up to 2 instant and/or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty good value. The Flying Ward 3 is kind of what I was going for. Imagine having a couple copies of this. That's a lot of aerial damage. We have the Miirym River Regent. It has a instant omen. Oh, look at that. I read the wrong thing earlier. 3 and a blue for Coil and Catch. Draw 3 and then discard a card. Not bad. Now, if we copy this, we get multiples of 6/7 flying for 6. When this creature enters, return up to 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner's hands. So we can bounce stuff, and then we make copies and bounce more stuff, and then make copies and bounce more stuff. Then we swing in on an empty board and just do the thing. For multicolored dudes, we have Corlessa Scale Singer. It's a 1/4. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast dragon spells from the top of your library. That's pretty good. I know it's kind of a weak card, but it does do the Lord's work in this deck. Here we go. Niv Mizzet. Boom. Can't be countered. It's a 5/5 for 6 with flying. Whenever you draw a card, it does 1 damage to any target. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you may draw a card. So then you're doing 1 damage. And it says whenever a player, so any player casting an instant or sorcery, we get to draw cards. And whenever we draw cards, it does 1 damage. And with Miirym, if we have 3 copies of this, we're doing 3 damage and drawing 3 cards. Actually, we're drawing 3 cards and having 3 Niv Mizzets see each card draw. So then we're doing 9 damage. Or 12. This is such an insane deck. It's broken. We have Big Daddy Atarka, World Render for 7. 6/4. Flying and trample. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's pretty magical. We have Hairgast, Erupting Nullkite. It has a merge, 6 and 2 red. And that says you may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the emerge cost reduced by that creature's mana value. When you cast a spell, you may exile your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. Flying, 6/6. Each creature spell you cast has emerge. The emerge cost is equal to its mana cost. So we can sacrifice smaller dragons to play bigger dragons. Pretty magical. Last but not least, this is, in my opinion, one of the best cards for this deck, and the reason it's not the commander is because Miirym makes copies, so why not have 2 of these? Irene of the Unwritten. I had to trade some good stuff for this. It's a 7/7 for 7 mana. Flying and trample. Whenever Irene enters or attacks, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a dragon creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, Miirym. Let's read her again. Oh look, whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield. This is not a cast trigger, this is a dragon's entering the battlefield. So you have Miirym out, say you've got a couple copies of this, you attack with them, then you get, some more copies of the dragons that you find. And as you can see, all of our dragons are pretty fan-friggin-tastic. Real quick on the lands, nothing too crazy, nothing too special. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... We have 9 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look, I can count. 7 mountains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 forests. A Spire Buff Canal. Enters tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. It's red and blue. Not too bad. Shifting Woodland. You can tap it for green or 2 and 2 green. Becomes a copy. What? Of target permanent card in your graveyard until end of turn. Activate only if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. We have a plethora of card types. We should be able to do this. It's a good land. Breeding Pool, it's a shock land. It taps for Simic, or we can pay 2 when it comes in untapped. Quarry Mountain Monastery. Enters tapped unless you control a plains or an island. Easy, taps for red. Or we can pay 3 in a red, tap it, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. It's pretty good, so it gets us some deck utility. Arena of Glory. Taps for red, enters the battlefield, unless we control a mountain. If we pay 1 red, tap it and exert it, so it stays tapped for 1 upkeep. You add 2 red mana, and that mana is spent on a creature spell. It gains haste until end of turn. So why don't we give our dragons haste and just start attacking? And I did look it up. The haste does not carry over to the copies because it's given after it enters the battlefield. Cephalid Coliseum is a blue land, but it does 1 damage to us. But the threshold's cool. Pay 1 blue, tap it, sacrifice it. Target player draws 3 cards and then discards 3 cards. Activate only if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. We might be in a pickle, might have to sacrifice it to draw 3, or draw 3 extra cards and hope for the best. Hope we don't need to do that. Command Tower for all 3 colors. Scryland for the blue. Temple of Epiphany. Another Pain Land. Color, tap for colorless or red-blue. It'll do 1 damage to you. Stole this from my World Shaper Precon. Taps for red or green, does 1 damage to you. Henselwyn Harbor does not hurt you, but only comes in untapped if you control a forest or island, so easy enough. Willow Rush Verge taps for blue or green if we control a forest or an island. Easy. Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Tap for colorless or tap for 1 mana of any color to cast for a dragon spell, or pay 2, sack it, and you can return target dragon creature or Ugin Planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty fantastic. Mycosynth Gardens. Pay, or you can tap for colorless or pay 1 to filter into any color, or you can pay X. Have it become a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. You never know, 2 mirror boxes could be cool. Or, 2 Helms of the Hosts. Wouldn't that be cool? Just saying. And a little fetch land that's not very useful, but it has cycling. So if we're really in a pinch, we can pay the 3 of 1 of each color, discard this, and draw a card. Kind of pricey, but this searches and tutors for 1 of our basics. So it's good enough. And 1 card that I'm still debating on putting in, so this card is definitely on a sideboard. We have Dragonback Assault. It's a 6-drop enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it does 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, it does create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. It's a 6-drop, so I'd probably cut a dragon to put this in there. Probably Ganax, honestly, because this has kind of more value. But right now I'm keeping him. So this is on the sideboard, depending on what we're doing. And I got it for $3, so it's pretty good. All in all, this deck is super fun. It is a bracket 3, but I think it plays like a bracket 4 because it's just you're copying so many big dragons. The commander is singleton, but we're going to be playing with doubles at minimum of all of our dragons in the deck. And all the cards support dragons for the most part. And what we're going for, there's a lot of card draw because of dragons, a lot of mana because of dragons, and just wild and janky ways to win the game. If you like this video, please let me know. And if you didn't like it, still let me know, because I'd love to know how I can improve on making these videos slightly more interesting. I know the CEDH proxies didn't do so hot, and some people did not care for them as much, which is totally fine. It was just for fun, and wanted to give the setup a try. Obviously, it was not up to par with what we're working with, but I did get a new camera stand for my other camera, so next time I have a Commander game, I can get 2 angles. Remember, this is Commander on Curve, and we are budget friendly. Right now, my budget does not allow me to have a lot of recording stuff. So deal with it for now, because my decks are freaking awesome, and I promise you, you will win games. Don't forget, Miirym makes non-token dragon copies, and they're amazing. Thanks. Have a good day. Peace out.